Hi everybody, and thanks for joining me today. So moving right along, still underneath the fountain there, getting closer to the middle. Still a ways to go though, because I think the middle, this is line 250, and I think the middle is like 275. Yeah, so the middle is right about there. But of course, once I reach there, because it's a diagonal, I won't be quite at halfway across the bottom, because yeah, the fact that it's not going straight across kind of changes the count, but still making progress. So yeah, the bottom of this down here of the diagonal was kind of almost all one color, so I did that first before I started filming, because I didn't want to bore you. Wanted to give you something interesting to watch. So yeah, we had some frost today, so it was too cold to go for a walk this morning with the wind chill. So yeah, that might be it until spring. We'll see. Although sometimes we have, like in spring, when it warms up and cools down, warms up and cools down. So we might have it warm up in a few days, and so we'll see if it stays too cold, or if I can still get a few more walks in before it is too cold for real. Yeah, busy morning. Doing some baking, some laundry, and exercising. So yeah, and then like I said, I wanted to get that boring part stitched and done so I could stitch something more interesting on camera for y'all. So yeah, made some banana bread. We're gonna go and knock on the new neighbor's door and say hi and give them some baked good. Say welcome to the neighborhood. Yeah, it was nice. We had some neighbors who did that for us when we moved in, so we're still friends with them. So yeah, I had so many bananas frozen in my freezer. So yeah, I made a double batch, and then one of them is for us and one's for the neighbors. So hopefully they like banana bread, but I think most people do, right? Yeah, I make these really nice peanut butter and Hershey Kiss cookies, but the problem is, of course, I don't know if somebody might be allergic to peanuts, so gotta be careful. I only make them when I know it's safe for people. They don't have any allergies. I'll never forget once. I was on a retreat, and the lady, she brought muffins, and one of the guys says, "Is there nuts in this? Because I'm deathly allergic." And she says, "Oh, they're all ground up." It's like, yeah, that's not gonna help. Cutting them up doesn't make them not deadly to somebody who's deathly allergic to them. Oh, goodness. Yeah, sometimes people just don't get how serious allergies can be. Like, there was someone who, she said she was at a wedding and someone urged them to just eat the seafood because, oh, well, a little rash never killed anyone. Well, actually, yeah. Anaphylaxis has killed people, you know? That's why there's people who have to carry EpiPens around, because, like, some people, it's so bad that just contact with the skin, like a peanut or something, just a little bit of peanut oil in the skin is enough that it will send them into shock, you know? So yeah, don't be cavalier about allergies, because they can be deadly. And I also read, actually, that even if you don't have a severe allergic reaction, you have to be careful, because it could one day become like full-blown anaphylaxis if you overdo it. So yeah, you have to be careful. Like, I had, when I was a kid, I had a problem with citric acid, so no orange juice or tomato stuff, or it gave me a rash. So we cut it out of my diet for a few years, and I'm okay now as long as I don't overdo it. Like, I love mandarin oranges, especially at Christmas, but I don't let myself buy maybe more than 1 or 2 because, yeah, if I buy a whole bunch, I'm going to eat them all, and then I'm going to be paying for it later. And I still have to watch it with pineapple, as that's very acidic, and yeah, I can only eat a little bit at a time because, yeah, my skin gets all dry and cracking and itchy. It's not fun at all. So I have to decide if it's worth it. And yeah, my poor kid can't eat it at all. He tried once and it actually made his lips bleed. So poor thing. Yeah, he liked the taste of it, but boy, it did not like him back. Oh my gosh, come on. There we go. Yeah, so figure skating season just started. This last weekend was Skate America. I was watching that. And then I tried to knit, and man, my arms did not like it. So I got maybe an inch of sleeve knitted, and then I had to put it aside because, yeah, my arms didn't like it. So kind of sad about that. That was another one. I used to be able to just knit for hours, almost uninterrupted. You know, I'd take little breaks every half hour or so, stretch, and then get back to it, and I was fine. But yeah, I definitely can't do that now. It has to be a little at a time. Okay. So, some little bits of color, but not a lot. Yeah, it's fun to watch because, of course, we just had the last Olympics. Of course, it was supposed to be 2020, but yeah, the world changed, everything locked down, so they had it last year instead. Or was it? No, yeah, it was SOA or Worlds or so. Yeah, now a lot of the older, more experienced athletes have retired, so it's the fresh crop of new faces coming out. Although some have stayed in, still hoping to go for one more Olympics. Yeah, and things have changed. Of course, there's no Cup of Russia this year because they're not holding any figure skating stuff there since the war in Ukraine. So there used to be, that was one of the 6 Grand Prix events. So it's been changed with, oh, I can't remember where it is now. I looked it up yesterday because I remember thinking that, oh, I wonder if they're going to hold in Russia or not. And the Cup of China is out too because they have stricter COVID-19 limitations in place. So yeah, they changed that one as well. I think one is in Finland, but I could be wrong. But yeah, so they've changed a couple. So there's Skate America, Skate Canada, NHK, which is in Japan, and oh, what else was it? I'm trying to think now. Yeah, so Cup of Russia, Cup of China have changed. And then there's a Grand Prix final in France, and I'm thinking there's one more, which I'm just blanking on right now. Okay. Let's make sure I'm parking this correctly. There we go. Yeah, it was interesting too. Daisuke Takahashi, who was very successful singles skater in the men's event, has come back as an ice dancer. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. He's an Olympic bronze medalist, I believe, and several times world medalist. So, yeah, they said figure skating is big in Japan. It's like what hockey is to Canadians. Yeah. Although, I'll let you in on a secret, I'm not really that into hockey. Figure skating's the only one I really watch, yeah. Yeah, my sister's a hockey fan. I guess I'm not a huge team sport person, I suppose. Yeah, I'm kind of wondering, are they going to have Russian athletes at these events or not? Since they're not holding events there this year either, so yeah, be interesting to see. Okay, so that's one that can be finished off. Yeah, it's nice blue sky today. It's just ruddy cold. Ugh. But, I mean, we often have snow by this time, so I'm not going to complain. There was a little bit I saw when I went on my walk yesterday. There was some little bits of it sort of collected in areas where the sun hadn't reached yet. So the areas that were in the shade, but it was overnight. By morning, most of it was melted. So I don't know if I really count that until it actually sticks. Usually our first snow doesn't stick around for long. It melts. It's usually about the third or fourth one that actually sticks around until spring. Okay, quite a few colors I get to finish here, which is nice. But then there's a whole whack ton of threads further down, so. And it looks like I might be adding a few in this little area here. We shall see. Oh, my goodness. Pardon me. Oh, I was saying, yeah, kiddo is done with his driver's ed, so we get to sleep in later, but my husband was like snoring this morning, so he kept me awake early, unfortunately. Finally, after about the fourth or fifth time I poked him, I ended up getting up and sleeping on the couch. He's like, sorry. It's like, well, I said at that point, really no point in both of us being awake. So. Yeah, like he says to me, oh, just kick me out. But like I said, it's like, what's the point in us both being awake, right? Like, yeah, it's just, I'll leave you to sleep and go sleep elsewhere. Doesn't happen all the time, so I can live with it. Oh. Come on. Oh, I hate when that This is the last 2 strands. And I kind of want to, okay, I think I got it now. Yeah. Bottom, when I got to the bottom of the strand, they got tangled and didn't want to let go of each other. But I think we got it now. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Probably going to be attaching both pretty soon. Yeah. Because one is going to sort of travel along this way and one's going to travel down this way. Which is what I usually do in these situations. Okay, so park there, and I'm going to grab the other strand. There we are. Yeah, so I had one of those McDonald's Monopoly stamps. I won a free sandwich, so that's what I had for lunch. Now it's like sitting in my gut like lead. I said every now and then I eat at McDonald's to remind myself why I don't eat at McDonald's. But it tastes good. Yeah, they have an app with rewards, but their points expire, which kind of irks me. So I've taken it and I got like a couple of free donuts once, but yeah, I don't like when points expire. That just feels like a ripoff. Yeah, or there's the other one, Air Miles. They got dropped by a bunch of major partners. So Sobeys and Safeway have quit, and they've switched to Scene Plus, which is a one that was started by Cineplex, but now does other. And it's such a ripoff. So they had buy $50 worth of groceries, get 500 points. And I have the app, you know, I'm signed up and everything. And it was like, click here to get a coupon. Well, no matter how much I did to try and get a coupon, it just kept taking me to the flyer. Like, well, thank you, but that's useless, you know. So I scanned it at the register anyway. But yeah, I haven't earned a single ready point since they switched over to it. So I said, oh, is that why they switched over? Now they can make a big deal about their new reward system and they don't have to actually give you anything. Oh, yeah, I've been there about 3-4 times and I haven't got a thing. So yeah, I wasn't thrilled. I mean, I didn't get a lot of air miles, but I always got usually at least one because I don't do the bulk of my shopping there. I do mine at Real Canadian Superstore because they're really good about their reward system. And I find they're bigger stores, so they have more selection. They've also got like clothing and housewares and stuff, not just groceries. So that's useful too. Can mean avoiding, you know, an extra stop. And yeah, and they give me, I have a credit card with them, so I get 1% back in points for free groceries. Plus, they give me points for stuff that I'm usually going to buy anyway, because it tracks your habits. Because, well, that's why they do it, right? They can track your spending. And but it's really nice because there's a lot of times every sort of once a month they'll have one where it's like buy $250 worth of groceries at once and then you get $25 worth back in points. It's like, well, I needed to spend a bunch anyway, you know. Sometimes I might buy a little extra to make up to that, but I mean, if I buy things I'm going to use anyway, bonus, right? You might as well. That's 10% back. So why wouldn't I take it? And I think, yeah, I probably get about $700 a year in free groceries I earn. So yeah, it's pretty good. I usually use that and then save it for the big things I want to get, like cookware, or I got my stand mixer with my points, that kind of thing. But yeah, so I wasn't happy with the Scene Plus at the Safeways, but I only go there really to get bread and milk because they have there's specific varieties I eat of those, and Superstore doesn't carry it. It's like the only stuff they don't carry. So yeah. Yeah, and then Rona, which is a hardware store, quit working with them as well, and so did Staples, which is office supply chain. 2, 3, okay. So yeah, I'm not sure if anybody's actually with Air Miles anymore apart from MasterCard. Yeah, so yeah, losing those retailers, I don't know. Maybe this will be the end of an era. Don't know how long they've been around, but I think as long as I've been around, at least. I remember there being Air Miles when I was a kid, so yeah, back when half the time they had to make the actual physical imprint of your credit card with the carbon paper. Yeah. I was explaining to my son, that's why the letters and numbers are raised, so they could make that imprint. He said, really? I said, yeah, they used to have this machine with a big roller and go shunk, shunk, and actually make the imprint into the paper, into, I think it was like 3 paper copies or something. There was, because there's one for the customer, one for the retailer, and I think one was for the credit card company, if I remember correctly. It was a while ago. Longer than I care to admit, but yeah. The last time I actually saw one of those was at well, it was because it was at an outdoor fair and they didn't have power. And that was in the days before they had the little portable ones. You had to plug it into a wall back then. So yeah, there was that. Or I remember on our honeymoon, 2002, the machine at the restaurant where we ate was down and the guy was on the phone, and so yeah, he had to bring out the that imprint maker. So I guess they still use those. Like vinyl, I guess it doesn't go away entirely. Yeah, it's yeah, actually, because like vinyl came back, right? You actually can buy new turntables now because that medium wouldn't die. Yeah, my mother-in-law said they actually got rid of a bunch of theirs. They were selling some furniture, and a guy saw the picture, and it was full of records. And he said, well, are you selling those too? And she said, well, I mean, I guess, you know? So, yeah, he went through and took a bunch of them. Yeah, 8 tracks, those are gone for good. I remember when I was a kid, it was just changing over from 8-track to cassettes. And you go to the thrift store and there were just walls and walls of 8-tracks. But yeah, I don't think you can get those anymore. And then it was CDs. Yeah, it was funny. I was remembering when I was, my kid was little, and I had an old Sesame Street book, and you know, Big Bird puts on a song on the record player. And my son's like, what's a record player? And I'm like, well, it's like a big CD. And it's like, oh, wait, you don't really use CDs. So yeah, I had to explain about records. And I was like, well, I feel so old now. We actually had a toy, little Mickey Mouse one. I remember it was like plastic. Yeah, and it was similar. I had little Disney records that came with it. Okay. Yeah, I said it's funny because they'll still make the record scratching sound sometimes in movies when it's, you know, to indicate like WTF, right? I said, yeah, kids these days will not know where that sound comes from, right? Or like why sometimes the phone camera will makes the click shutter sound. Yeah. I remember we actually had an old camera that had a separate flash that you had to charge and put on, and I still remember that whoo sound it would make after it would take a picture, and you would be blinded, right? Which, I mean, you can still get those, but that's not the standard camera equipment anymore. Yeah, like cameras were a few pounds you had to carry around your neck during vacations or in a separate bag. I remember like my dad carrying it, and then, okay, we got to put it all together. Okay, I got to charge the flash. Okay, everything, hang on a minute, you know. I wasn't old enough that we had the flash cubes, but yeah. But yeah, like, I mean, there's still people who like to do the old style film and darkroom and everything. I don't know if you have many commercial places you could take film to get done now. I would guess it's like a specialty service. Oh, gosh, come on. Oh. Oh, there's a knot in here. Let's see if we can get it to release. Aha, good. Sometimes if you stick the needle in there and kind of wiggle it around, sometimes you can get the knot to release, but sometimes, unfortunately, that ties it even tighter, and then there's nothing to do. Cut it out, but no, it's worth a try to see if you can get it to let go. Okay. I think we'll just barely get these ones I've highlighted here. There we go. Well, you know, if I can get one more out of this before I have to tie it off, then I will, because that means I won't have to add an extra thread yet. I can leave it for the next diagonal, since this one here is right on the line, and I can leave that. So yeah, that's what I think I'll do. I can see I'm going to need 2 threads of this brown here if I want to not jump around and close stuff in, which I prefer to not do. I have lots of little bits, so I'm sure I'll have some that are good for just a few stitches, and that'll be perfect for those ones over to the right. Yeah, so I was saying our guinea pig was sick, and we thought maybe that was the end, but she's bounced back again. She had her hormone shots, and her fur grew in all thick. And it's funny, she actually got some super long hairs on her behind. I was petting her, and I thought they were my hairs stuck to her, and I realized, no, they're like 6 inches long, which is unusual for her. I don't know, maybe the hormone shots, you know, had something to do with it. But they didn't the first time. This is the second time she had rounds of hormone shots for her ovarian cysts. And yeah, that first time she didn't grow any few super long hairs, but this time she did, so go figure. But yeah, she's still kicking, so. Yeah, it's funny because when we visited my in-laws, they had a couple of piggies. They were really nervous. Only one of them would let me pet her and just the top of her head. If you tried to pet her any further down her back, she just took off. I said, oh, okay, I guess it shows our guinea pig really trusts us, because she was very, very skittish when we first got her. But yeah, now she's quite happy. You can pet her from her head all the way down to her rump, and she just purrs. Yeah. I mean, she's probably old and too tired to run fast now, but yeah, also she's happy. She likes it, so. Okay, so I'm going to add another one here, one of my shorter threads. Yeah, perfect. This is why I saved the leftover pieces. Okay. Let's see how long this piece is. I don't know if it's long. Oh, it is long. Okay. In that case, I'm going to go further to the left. Let's see. I think I'm going to end up with more than one thread of this color here, because I can already see the way they're going. Yeah, and this one's not very long. Oh, pardon me. Okay, so I'm not doing a loop start here because I have these two pieces I trimmed from another area. So what I'm going to do is do an away thread method, which I did show in another video, but yeah, just pull it till there's a tiny bit left, and then make sure as you are bringing your needle back up that you catch that thread to secure it. I always do it when there's at least 3 or 4 stitches in a row to make sure that there's enough wraps around the back that it stays secure. There we go. And just pull that end back to the wrong side of the fabric. It's all neat and tidy, and you didn't waste any. That's one thing. A lot of times people will use a waste knot where there's a knot in it, but then that's quite a lot of thread, extra thread that gets, you know, discarded or whatever. So yeah, that's the reason why I like to do this away method with just a very teeny tiny, like a couple millimeters sticking up out of the fabric, and then that that cuts down on how much is wasted. Yeah, they call it a waste thread for that reason, but I don't like waste. Yeah, I remember they make a waste canvas, they call it, so you can do cross stitch on non-cross stitch fabric. So it's like a plasticky almost, and you stitch it to the fabric. You can cross stitch, and then you have to soak it and then pull the fibers out after you're done stitching. But you know, I haven't seen it in years. I don't know if they still make it or not. I never used it myself. I just remember reading about it in a craft magazine. It was like if you want to put a little, you know, cross stitch emblem on like the lapel of a shirt or something, or on a pocket or something like that, you could. Yeah, I never did it myself. I remember I made one, it was almost like this plastic canvas, and it was an insert that went into a mug. And they had ones that were, you could make little coasters, but they don't sell those anymore. They had them at Michael's. So I remember making some of those when I was a kid in the 90s. But yeah, I haven't seen them in a long time, and I don't know if they make them anymore. Okay, so I did this one and these two, and I'm going to park that there. Now, these are all in this diagonal, but I'm actually just going to leave it because I would have to do this one and to do these ones here, then I would have to do this one first, and I don't feel like adding another thread at the moment. So that's why I chose to just leave it and kind of stop before the line in that instance. Like I said, it's just a rough guide for me, that line. I follow the colors. And so, yeah. And it helps avoid there being lines left in my work too, if I do that. So I'm procrastinating it for the next diagonal. Sometimes I do that. Okay. Okay, I can see these colors are kind of crossing over each other. We'll see if we can keep from doing stuff out of order. If I am going to have to do some out of order. We'll see. Yeah, a lot of threads in this area, so it's going to get interesting. Okay, there. But I think we're good. Okay. Okay, that is a full length piece. Okay, so, right, I did 2 threads here on purpose. This one is going to kind of go hook up and around and head back down. So, this one in the corner here. And then this one in the corner here. Come on. And then park it over there. So let's see, I can actually avoid doing it out of order. Sometimes I won't bother. Like I might have done these 2 purple ones in a row, but actually I'll just avoid it because I can without too much extra difficulty. If it makes a ton of work for myself, then I don't bother. So I did that one and park it there. And then do these 2 in their corners. Yeah, so hard to believe. I think this channel's a year old now. I'm almost at my 100th session of this, Stitch With Me, so time sure flies. I know some of you have been here with me from the beginning, and a lot of you are new. But my thanks to each and every one of you who chooses to come and hang out with me. It means a lot. Okay, now this is a short piece of thread, so I'm not going to leave it threaded. And it's also going to be a while till I get there, so leaving that threaded would probably end up tangling, falling off. When I pull the thread out, the needle would probably come off. If it's shorter than, say, 6 inches, that's generally what happens. So yeah. That's why sometimes I leave it threaded and sometimes I don't. Okay. It's a fair bit of changing colors, but still pretty happy with the progress we're making. Almost at 92 2/3%. Okay, yes, and then this one is going back downwards. Now let's see. I have quite a few of these, but I bet most of these are short. Yeah, that's only really long enough for the one stitch. Yeah, same with that one. Same with that, yeah. I had so many sort of in this area that they all ended up in this, coming into this diagonal, but they're all short. So. And actually, I again have so many leftover bits too that's probably part of it. I chose to use up some shorter pieces that way. Oh dear. Oh, pardon me. Okay, and I think this thread, we'll see if it's long enough to park or if I will be ending it. No, it's longer than I thought. Yeah, so saying I've been enjoying the new show, Monarch, which is about a country music royalty family, basically. Similar to Nashville, if you remember that from the 90s, early 2000s, which I also enjoyed. And I said, yeah, I think I'm partly enjoying it because they're using a lot of 90s country music, which was sort of when I got into some of it. So, yeah. They're pretending that the songs are by the characters, but there's, you know, Trisha Yearwood, Garth Brooks, Martina McBride, that kind. So, yeah, I know most of the songs they use on there. Brings back memories. Okay, another thread done. So we were able to avoid doing anything out of order thus far. All right, I think that's all I'm gonna get out of that thread. Yeah. But then that takes care of that in that area. I'm gonna have to add a new one for now. I'll do it when I do the next diagonal. Okay, let's see what we've got. Oh boy. Those dogs are back. Yay. Oh, I really hope we're not going to have to deal with this again. Yeah, it's been quiet for like 2 weeks. Ugh. Okay, I can see I'm going to need again more than one thread here. Okay, and it looks like I have to grab a new one for my envelopes. Okay, somebody quieted it. Good. Like I said, I don't mind if dogs bark occasionally, but when they do it for hours on end, yeah, makes me want to tear my hair out. Oh, goodness. Okay, so. Alright, so now I'm going to just check the ones I have. Nope, that's not very long. Nor is that. Okay, let's see what I'm going to add where. Okay. my heat kicked on and closed one of my doors. I guess it was like almost latched, but not quite. I had that the other day and I was actually really tired, so I went back to bed in the morning and that happened and woke me up, and boy, that scared the heck out of me. Oh, it's like, okay, I guess my nap's over now, because yeah, my heart was just pounding. Yeah, so one of the drawbacks of wearing earplugs to sleep is sometimes I go to bed before my husband does, and one time he came in and I didn't hear him coming because I was half asleep, and then he sneezed. Oh, just about had a heart attack because yeah, I had no idea anyone was there that a sneeze. Oh my gosh. Yes, I feel like I have a whole pharmacy now when I go to bed, you know. Got my sleep mask and I've got my earplugs, and now I've got added a nose strip to it when I'm feeling, yeah, so my nose doesn't get congested, and because otherwise it squeaks and that wakes me up, drives me crazy. And then I also started putting this overnight eye ointment in because my eyes are really dry. So yeah, I said, like I said, I feel like I got to put a whole pharmacy together on me before I can go to sleep. Oh dear. But the eye ointment really was working though, because I have to say my eyes were so dry. I was having to add drops like 3-4 times a day. It was really irritating. And so yeah, I went and got one of this overnight eye ointment, and it's almost like a petroleum jelly kind of consistency. And you put a little bit in, so it's very blurry when you put it in, but that's why you put it in for overnight. So by morning it's cleared out and your eyes are more hydrated. So yeah, I used it the last couple of nights and I was really happy with it because I haven't needed drops the whole next day until like at bedtime, which is usually when I get the worst of my eye dryness. It was at night. I'd notice when I'm trying to read. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, I have to use a lot less drops. So it's a little more expensive for this stuff. It doesn't go as far. But I mean, if it keeps me from having to put drops in, you know, 5 or more times a day, like, it's actually cheaper in the long run. So, yeah. Yeah, it's why I wore contacts for a year, but I stopped because the eye dryness was so bad. It was terrible. I was having to put, again, re-wetting drops in multiple times a day. My eyes always felt gritty and dry, so just wasn't worth it. And I don't know if there's any connection, but my prescription had been relatively stable until then. And then I did contacts for a year, and then after that I said, you know what, I forget it. And went and got my eye exam, and yeah, my eyes had gone up like almost a point. So I don't know if it's just coincidence or if it was related, but yeah, I gave up. And then yeah, there's the laser eye surgery, but one of my aunts had problems with really dry eyes afterwards, and I'm like, I already have a dry eye problem, so I'm not taking that risk. Yeah, because she can't sew anymore because she can't see, and I'm like, if I could stitch anymore, oh my gosh, I'd be devastated. So yeah, I'll deal with glasses if it means I can still see enough to stitch. Because like, there's no undoing it, right? If I switched to contacts and I couldn't see, well, you could switch back to glasses, but yeah, if you get the surgery, that's permanent. So yeah. Okay. Okay. So I already have a couple of these threads of this color, so I'm just going to use a short piece for these 2 lone stitches by themselves right there. Yeah. I think that was threaded, but I unthreaded it. Oh well. That's what happens when you end up with a lot of needles on the magnet. Sometimes they hold it down and you pull the thread right out of it. No prob. Yes, thinking of country music. We went to a gala a couple months ago for the local hospital foundation, and they do auctions. They do silent auction, and then they have live auction as well. And unexpectedly, it wasn't on the it wasn't in the booklet or whatever they gave you, the itinerary. There was a trip to Garth Brooks concert with what was it? Was it like 16 tickets and a van, like a big not van, one of those big party buses, ride to the show, and yeah, everything. And yeah, I think that whole package went for over $6,000. Like, holy cow. But yeah, they were raising for the hospital. So one year it was for new dialysis machines. I can't remember what it was this year. And then we went to another one. It's kind of nice because my husband gets to go through work. They often are a big sponsor, so we get tickets and we get to go. And I take turns, right? Sometimes other people's significant others get to go. Sometimes I get to go because I don't work there. My husband does. And yeah, so it was the local rescue squad, and they they were getting new rescue equipment. And the new rescue equipment, I think they said was going to cost like $350,000. And I know there were two big sponsors who each gave $100,000 each. And then with all the other stuff, I think they probably made their goal. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. It's amazing too, because the rescue squad, it's entirely volunteers. It's not paid. And yeah, they do water rescue, you know, rescue hikers, that kind of thing. So yeah, like hats off to them. It's some dedication. Yeah, you know, it's interesting. Like people will say, oh, without money as a motive, people wouldn't do anything. It's like, well, no, there's volunteer firefighters. You know, people write fan fiction. I think people like to be useful. People like to create stuff, you know? I mean, look at me right here, right? I'm loving to create this stuff. I have people say, oh, you could sell it. Well, I'm like, first of all, I'm not sure you can, if you can legally, you know, but even so, nobody's willing to pay you how much work you put in, you know? No, this is a labor of love. But yeah, I think we naturally like to do things and be useful. Like somebody was saying, what was it? Oh, you know, lots of rich kids become artists. Is it because the rich are more inclined to be artists, or because, hey, guess what? They have the money and they can? Yeah, of course, there was no gala for a couple of years due to the pandemic, but yeah, things are starting to happen again. So, although I'm still wearing my mask when I go shopping. Like I've said before, the lack of colds has honestly made it worth it. I had 2 colds in the last 2 years, almost 3 years now. So, yeah. It's like, even if it's not a serious illness, who wants to be sick, right? That's no fun. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's all right. Sometimes when you're parking, when there's already threads there, it can look kind of, or stitching where there's threads parked, it can kind of make them wonky, but no, that looks okay. Sometimes if it's wonky, what I'll end up doing is actually taking it through to the back, unparking it, and then maybe coming up in the bottom lower left instead of the upper right when I stitch that, just to, but I don't park it that way or get mixed up. I only do it right when I'm using that thread. Yeah, in case some of the other threads being stitched around it has kind of displaced it a bit. So sometimes I do that for neatness sake, but I generally don't have to. And this time, once you pull it taut, it was fine. It didn't look weird and sloppy, so. Well, I have to say, even though this was an area with quite a few color changes, I didn't have to do stuff out of order. So that's cool. I like when that works out. Pulled up an end there. There. Just coax it back to the wrong side. You just see this other one part here. That's decent length too. Okay. That affects where I want to park this current thread that I'm using. Okay, I'm going to park this over here, and I'm actually just going to tack it down with one pin stitch. There, so it's a bit of a longer carry. That way, when I stitch all the stitches between those two, I won't have to worry about pulling it loose, because that can happen sometimes when you have a longer jump. Okay, I think this one, yeah, I'm going to tie off. It's further than I want to carry it, so. Yeah, up close it's kind of hard to see that these are different cobblestones, but I bet once I back up it'll look good. Though I had the same other thing with the top of the pillars. It was so purple and blue, it did not look right till you backed up and saw it from further away. Okay, that one's not threaded. So you know what? I am just going to set them aside. Yeah, it's kind of borderline onto whether it's in this diagonal or the next diagonal, so. Okay. Oh, well, got quite a lot done today. Obviously, I wasn't at 0 when I started, so I didn't do that many on camera, but I did do quite a bit. But as usual, thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you here again another time. All right, thanks everyone. Bye.